Well, thank you.
In life, we come to crossroads, and recently you came to a crossroads in your own life where your scrubs were starting to wear out. Can you tell us about that?
I can. I had worked full time as a pharmacist since 2011, and then in 2022, I found a job working part time because I enjoy going out and speaking. I like writing books, and most of the time like spending time with my kids. And so I had the opportunity to take a job that gave me more time for that kind of activity. And after 3 years, I one of the perks of this job was I got to wear scrubs instead of real clothes with like belts and zippers and stuff. There was a hole in them, and I had to decide would I quit my job or get new scrubs. And I quit my job. Well, I left it. I gave them plenty of notice. Yes, so that's the joke is that I got a hole in my scrubs, so I just decided to quit rather than buy new ones. But no, I decided to take this journey I've been on with metabolic health and have a chance to focus more on that. We can talk more about the new project that I'm working on there, have more time to go and speak and make people laugh and bring some joy and love into their life and teach them how to live a healthy life with all the different pillars. And what's funny is I did do it. You saw Casey does his research, folks, by the way. He saw this post, and I did this on LinkedIn, and someone commented, "Nice ChatGPT story." And I will tell you that that joke was something I came up with in the kitchen with my wife. It wasn't good. That's how you know it was mine. But that was a real thing. If the guy who commented about my ChatGPT related post, who was wrong about it, is listening, so I was proud of that premise. That was a good reason to leave my job. I had new clothes or to leave my job. It was leave my job.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I want to talk about the story leading up to that. And I did find the post very funny, regardless of who thought it was funny or not. I thought it was funny.
Thank
Um,
you.
but that's a really big decision. So before we kind of, you know, talk about that decision and new projects and everything, set us up a little bit about your history. It's been a little while since you've been on our show. So tell us how,
Mhm.
a standard, trained pharmacist got into the world of like metabolic health and clinic or chronic disease the way you did.
Yeah, so as a pharmacist, I did a residency, which a lot of people realize pharmacists can do. And this advanced training gave me the opportunity to work in a clinic where we have what was called a collaborative practice agreement, which is a very fancy way of saying there's lots of really sick people who have high blood pressure, high sugar, obesity. There's not enough doctors, nurse practitioners to see them all. So we signed this agreement that says they'll oversee me as a clinical pharmacist or any other clinical pharmacist. I see these patients in my clinic like you would go to see any doctor's visit, and I have independent prescription authority with their oversight to adjust their medications. And so the idea being a chronic disease, and I'm using air quotes here, manager, is that I'm going to put you on blood pressure medicines, blood sugar medicines, cholesterol medicines to keep your numbers good. When your blood sugar's high and your blood pressure's high, it's bad. Like damage is happening. I'm not going to deny that we need to improve those. Now, how we go about that, we're probably more on the same page there. But that was my job, was to utilize medications to improve these numbers. And for years, and my focus and passion is in type 2 diabetes. For years, the numbers would improve, but patients would then have this long list of medicines. You'd have complications, drug interactions, side effects. And around 2015, 2016, I was listening to the Adam Carolla show because I like comedy, and this weird guy on there is named Vinny Tortorich talking about this thing NSNG, no sugar, no grains. And my wife's a nurse practitioner, and we're curious how I mean, we were fit people, we weren't out of shape, but thought, we've done our vegetarian month, we've done our no sugar month, which was actually the month we felt better. Let's try this no sugar, no grain thing, and we did it. We were less hungry. Like I'm a high-strung guy, pharmacist or type A. I've chilled out a ton, cutting a lot of the carbs and processed foods out of my diet. And then you go down the rabbit hole, and the same story is Jason Fung, Nina Teicholz, Gary Taubes, like the low carb world kind of got hold of us. And we started living that way. We heard the stories from patients getting better. And so in my practice, I would talk about lifestyle in the traditional, like eat less, move more, count calories, low fat, blah, 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 do cardio. Okay, whatever. Great. No one would get better. And so I started talking about this low carb approach, which has evidence behind it. So I wasn't just going super rogue. And this amazing thing started happening. Patients started getting like better. Like I could put you on a medicine and your numbers would go lower. And the powers that be would clap their hands and say, yay, your A1C went down 0.7%. Or I could have you change how you're eating, change how you're moving your body, and your A1C would drop 5 points and we'd get you off your medicines. So that was like, and you can't unsee it. It's every clinician you talk to says that I can't unsee this. everyone should have this opportunity to reverse their chronic disease. Now, every patient that came in my clinic didn't want to do that. And so I was able to offer whatever path you want. If you want to use more medications, we can do that. And here's the risks and benefits. You want to try diet and lifestyle? Let's do that. But I'm sorry, we like taking A1C from 15 to 6.5% in 3 months, which I've seen happen. It's not metformin doing that. It's not Ozempic even can do that. So that's doing that was amazing. And then I was doing it part time, which was great. I had balance with family and doing this, but I wanted to do more. And so another pharmacist who's very pro lifestyle and I started a podcast, the Diabetes Remission Roadmap, and I decided to leave my job so that I could focus on creating the tools and content to give people the ability to get their lives back. So I
Wow.
hung the scrubs up with the holes. And for now, I am not an actively practicing pharmacist. I am going to keep my license active. I'm not going to say I'm never going to go back to working as a pharmacist. So if I go back to working and the person calls me a hypocrite, don't call me that because I made it very clear. I'm leaving this for now because I want to pursue this thing that I think has more meaning and potentially more impact. But I may be back if the perfect pharmacist job came along that said, we need a deprescribing pharmacist right now, Cory, and you're the guy, but we also need to tell jokes. I'd be like, okay, I think this job was made for me. But for now, I'm having a lot of fun helping people through the podcast and some coaching we're doing.
That's amazing. Well, good for you. Yeah, I just the more people I talk to that take a chance on something like this, even if it doesn't work out the way they think it will work out, they never regret it. Like you'll never regret, just trying something on your own that you feel is impactful, and you're the perfect voice for that. Your unique combination of, improv and comedy, your ability to speak and relate to people is so valuable, and I think it's a big miss out there. So regardless of where you land up, where you end up, and where you land, I think you're going to be able to make an amazing impact. So kudos for you for taking the chance.
Well, thank you. And I think those were the discussions my wife and I had. Like when I went from full to part-time, my mood and affect improved dramatically. And then going from, I mean, I've only been at this now as we record this about 6 weeks of not working actively as a pharmacist, but the it gets you get to be fun and creative without the constraints of a corporate medicine telling you that you have to do certain things that might not align with your values. And I admit that my wife and I are in a very fortunate place through work and luck and breaks that we've had to be able to take this chance. And as you said, I think I will never claim to be clinically the best pharmacist or provider. There's lots of smarter people out there, but I would say that I really enjoyed relating to people, and that's finding ways to fit a solution into any individual's life is one of my favorite challenges. Uh, I guess I'd have a patient that would say, "Oh, it's too hot outside. I'm in Tucson. Too hot outside to walk." Okay, do you watch TV? Hours of TV. Great. Can you walk in place while you watch TV? Yeah. So, and I've seen the sugars and insulins and weights go down just walking during commercial breaks. Okay, well, that's not in any textbooks, not any guideline. You need to get 30 minutes of vigorous activity outside. Yes, ideally, yes. But when it's 115 degrees, they're not going outside. What can we do? So start with where the person or the patient or the client is and work from there. So that's the fun choose your own adventure challenge that I find myself in.